The Orkney Islands has seen an awful lot of history, almost 10,000 years of it. The archipelago, a few short miles north of the Scottish mainland, has been settled since the Stone Age. There have been eras of tranquility, periods of war and bloodshed, and some of the monuments left behind on these windswept and spectacular islands are older than the pyramids. Now, though, conflict is confined to Christmas and the New Year, to a very special tradition that goes back hundreds of years. This is the bar game. It's played in the Orcadian capital of Kirkwall, and its origins are lost in the mists of time. It's one of the very few mob football games, the lawless scrums that are the modern sport's distant ancestor, that still exist.
It is a game that has no rules, basically. You just have to get it to the one goal or the other by any means possible.
These goals are at either end of the town, around a kilometre apart. The Uppies goal is at the end of Main Street, next to the Catholic Church, while the Goonies win by getting the ball to the harbour. The bar itself has evolved over the centuries. That's because this used to be quite a fast spectacle, but now there's so little room and so many participants. It's all largely about strength.
Once it moved onto the streets, it was still a fast-moving football game. Originally, the bar was made from an inflated pig's bladder covered with leather panels, but when it started to be picked up and played as a scrum, then it needed to be much more solid, otherwise it would just burst. So they used these leather panels, which is stuffed with cork dust, which makes it very solid and very robust, so that it can stand the pressure inside the scrum, which is enough to crack men's ribs, and does on a regular basis.
It's a game that's entwined into the culture of Orkney. Before each encounter, preparations are made. Shop fronts and houses are boarded up, and the streets are deathly quiet as Kirkwall prepares to be besieged. The town is barricaded and ready for war, but though hundreds will eventually take part, only one can be the hero. That's the man who's awarded the bar itself. He'll be celebrated forever. The winner of the Christmas encounter was local butcher and proud uppie, Torfin Craigie.
For any bar player winning the ball, I mean, it's just winning this is the biggest trophy you ever get in the world. And somebody related it to Olympic gold, and like I said, it's far more precious for us. This is far better. It's the best feeling in the world, it really is.
Players can move away from the islands or even retire, but you're an uppie or a doonie till you die. A recent episode of The Simpsons revealed groundskeeper Willie to be an Orcadian, one whose family had been torn apart by bar rivalry. Normally, though, it's not hard to make a choice. The only issue is how to juggle the day job. Airline pilot David Miller has been a proud doonie for 5 decades, and it's not always been easy to reconcile work and pleasure.
Yeah, there were consequences. One year, not long after I started with Loganair, actually very shortly after I started with Loganair, I got 2 broken ribs, and the sort of upshot was I didn't play the following year because it took me 3 months to get over it. So there can be conflicts with it, and you will find people that have been injured and have to ask themselves the same question sometimes. Is it sensible for me to play at the moment?
Despite the fact that injuries are not infrequent, there's always a huge turnout, especially for the New Year bar. 2014 bragging rights are up for grabs, and both teams meet up the evening before at their respective local HQs to discuss tactics and meet new faces. The new year dawns bright and clear, a glorious winter's morning. Only around 20,000 people live on the islands, and it seems a good number of them are taking part. When the clock strikes 1, the bar is thrown into the melee, and the fun commences.
The pressure in the scrum, I mean, it's quite hard to describe. I mean, you just can't breathe. There's times when the boys will pass out, and it's just, you can't get air. The pressure in the scrum is immense. It's horrendous. it's rib breaking. I mean, you actually, ribs popped last year. The boys with ribs will just break. You'll hear them cracking. It became a surge of pressure. It's incredible.
Games can go on for over 7 hours. And on a short winter's day, the chances that it'll finish long after sunset are always high. This particular encounter saw the bar scarcely move early on. The two sides weighed each other up. The first break comes from the Doonies, and they head down the side street towards Junction Road and the goal at the harbour. An hour's gone and we're less than 200 metres from the start point.
Fatigue comes and goes during the game, depending on how intense the pressure is and whether the park's moving very quickly. If it gets stuck in a small alleyway or a lane, then it can become very tiring for people who are in that situation.
Progress is slow, but it's in one direction, toward the Dooney goal. As night draws in, the fight slowly drains out of the uppy cause. Step by step, the bar inches towards the harbour. Eventually, the uppies have to give way. The bar is destined to end up in the harbour's icy shallows, and the Doonies claim only their 4th victory in the last 16 games. Only one question now remains: who's most deserving of the bar?
You're sort of presented with the bar by your team players, and that can be historically because they've played for a long time, or they've been a big strong player for a long time, or they've done various things in the game. There's a variety of reasons for why somebody should be awarded it by the rest of the team.
And so the 2014 New Year's Day bar champion is a Dooney. His name is Michael Cursiter, and he'll be part of Orcadian history for as long as the bar is contested.